Good morning. July the 1st here today. It's another lovely morning at the northeast of England. A cool start, about 7 degrees when I come up this morning. But I come down to the polytunnels early on. It was 23 degrees as soon as the sun got up, which was quite early, 7 o'clock. So it's warm inside the tunnels. I've got heavy shading up. Not that I've been doing a lot, I'm just going to give you a little update, and also I've been asked quite a few questions. I've had a lot of visitors here over the last few weeks, more so in the last week. One or two people saying that they've got onions running to seed, not what they bought from me, you know, what they've set away themselves, but they've got onions running to seed. One or two have said they've got leeks running to seed. Quite a few people have said they've got leeks splitting, exhibition leeks, and quite a few said they've either got suckers or a little bit of shredding starting to appear. Tis a problem. I've got nothing like that happening here, but I'll walk you around and show you. First of all, we'll try and address the onions running to seed. Most of the people who've said that they've got onions running to seed would say they've probably planted out too early. We had a terrible start to the year. We were getting cold, wet days for a long period, very cold nights. A few people planted out in March and early April. We were getting sunshine during the day, but heavy frost on virtually every night through until virtually mid-May. It did hamper things, and certainly have given plants a check, especially the onions. So yeah, that's probably what's happened there. It'll more than likely be a check that the plants have had. Moving on to leek splitting. Several things cause this. I've had a few emails recently about it. Most leeks will split, and when you think your plant, as it grows, it increases in size, it increases in width of foliage, which I'll show you on these plants. The small ones will split. Normally it'll drop a flag and produce a new one in the centre, but as it drops flags, if it doesn't drop the flags, they will split because they're not big enough to wrap around the plant as it, you know, reaches extra size and circumference. So it's just a natural occurring habit of most leek plants, whether they're branch or pot, they will split. Just remove those. You normally split one or two at a time. The Cumbrian tends to split maybe 4 flags in, even 5 flags in. It's in the early stages, and it's on the smaller flags. And just get these removed and give the plant time to recuperate and grow on. That shouldn't be an issue. Other things can cause it. Too rich a bed. If you've got too much fertilizer in your beds, it can create growth way beyond the normal. If you're feeding from a watering can, I do think that this does split leeks, so I tend not to feed from a watering can. I'll show you exactly what I've done. You've seen all the way through what I've been doing. So just be wary of what you're doing. Irregular watering. Mine are getting very little water now, to be honest, because they're growing too hard. I know I'm talking about splitting, and yeah, I've got a little bit that has split, which I'll show you, you know, the good and the bad. Suckers in plants and shredding in plants, there are one or two that are prone to it. In fact, there's more than one or two. There's a few plants that are prone to produce suckers and a few plants prone to shredding. The shredding is usually the start of a hole up the root plate. Certain varieties are prone to this, and you know, it's virtually unavoidable. You're lucky if you get through a season without that kind of thing. I do sell them because a lot of people ask for these. What I would say is, what will definitely cause shredding and what will definitely cause splitting and suckers in the plant is a check to the system of the plant. And not forgetting, everyone tends to think they've had a cold snap. We've also got to look at the hot weather we're getting. Just look at Canada at the minute, it's actually killing people. We are getting high temperatures in the greenhouse of 100 degrees. I know some of my plants got scorched. Some of the seedlings that I planted, they were well scorched before planting time. I had to cut lots of foliage off. If you look back through the videos, you'll see. But they are recovering now. To help them recover, I use something called BioLift. I'll show you. It is for plant health. It's a biology that you're putting into your beds, and it helps relieve stress and helps the plants to, you know, counteract any problems that they will have. So I'll show you that. So basically checks whether it's cold, whether it's heat, and the other one is drought. If you've let them dry out at any given point, whether it's in the greenhouse or in your beds, in large pots, that'll certainly create either running to seed or shredding and suckers in the plant. Another question I'm getting is, how do I boost the plants up and give them, you know, how do my plants not grow as quick as yours? It's all down to preparation and health of plants. And as you see, my beds were prepared properly. I was late in putting fertiliser on. It only went on when I put the leeks in, which was late. And it's really kicking in now when the plants are starting to grow very hard. But prior to that, you've got to look at what you've done, what condition your soil's in. Make sure your soil's in good tilth, you've got plenty of humus in, you've got plenty of biology in, and certainly don't overfeed. A lot of people do overfeed. If you've already put a lot of fertiliser in your bed and you think the plants aren't growing properly, and it may not just be this year you've put fertiliser in, it could be several years previous that you've overloaded and thought, oh, they grew well that year, I'll put some more in. But not forgetting, that fertiliser didn't release the first year you applied it. It can release for up to 4 or 5 years later. And each year you're putting more in, so you get a build-up of fertiliser in the beds. So be very wary of what you're doing with fertiliser. A lot of people over-fertilise their beds. It burns the roots, or it stops them from growing because there's a lock-up in the bed. And the first thing to think of is, I better get the feed out and start feeding them. So you're banging more fertiliser in, you know, whatever fertiliser you use, and it only creates more of a problem rather than helps you to get the plants growing again. So you need to really look at what you've done yourself. If I've got a problem, I always look back at why I've caused the problem, and it's basically something that you've done to the plants why they're not growing, because plants will grow. You look across the fields, I tell people 1,000 times a year, look at those trees across the fields. There's certainly no farmer going feeding those trees. The biology in the earth will feed the plants and they'll grow. The trees grow, the biggest thing in the country. They're not getting fed every week. I'll give you a quick look around. I'll talk about it as we go. I'll just lift this down. Right, turn the camera around. Right, this is the main leek bed. It's the only leek bed I've replanted apart from a few seedlings. The first 3 leeks in here are Cumbrian from Jimmy Dunnett, and they're looking very nice. I'm well pleased with them. They're lovely and clean. Shape is very nice, and they are doing well. They're just starting to split. That one's not really big enough to split, but a little bit of splitting on here. But as I say, that's just natural. It will occur. We move on to the virus free. They're looking pretty good at the moment, as you can see. Again, they've split 3 and 4 flags in. They're just to be cleaned off, removed, and they should grow on. There's one that's, you can see that's split down there. It's either 3 or 4 flags, but they'll be removed. And as you can see, it's got a lovely broad flag on it now. The lower ones down beneath, you can see there, they're not as broad. So they will split until you get up onto your really wide flags. So the virus free are looking fairly decent. We'll just walk along, take a look. You can see them they're all splitting, so I'm not so much worried. I do know that this occurs. 1 or 2 slightly wedged, not too bad, but I don't like to see that. But they may go to CIU shows, they may not. I'm not really bothered, as I say. But the plants are shaping up well, and they're growing very, very fast, and they are being watered very sparingly at the moment. Spraying, I do keep a spray regime up for the leeks. That's the only thing I'm spraying at the minute. I don't spray stock plants now because I've got the bees in and I don't want to harm the bees. So we're more or less letting those go. They're nice and clean at the minute, which I'll show you. Certain beds didn't get planted, so this has had nothing done to it actually. They were prepared in the midwinter. It's had no fertiliser added because I would have done that when I put the leeks in, but leeks and onions, but they haven't been planted. I've just put them away for stock because I was so late. So now I'm starting to look at, we'll put a few beans in. I've sown winter cabbage, winter collies. I've got some late peas set. There's some basil set. A few different bits and pieces which I'll fill these beds up with just to help take anything in the soil that I need out. Strawberry baskets. This one is Elan, which is a seed raised one. I've had a really good crop of it and it's starting to produce its runners. Good sized fruit and they taste very good. Moving along, this variety is Summer Breeze. It's a red flowered variety. It's had loads on. In fact, these ones are actually going to waste. I picked a carrier bag full off the beginning of the week to make jam with, and these were surplus that just haven't been used. Moving around here at the opposite side, we look, there's plenty of runners on there, and these ones are a variety called Vibrant. This is a commercial variety. I've had pounds and pounds of these, and I've now got the open beds up in the garden, which are fruiting. The only trouble is my dogs have found they love strawberries and they're going on the beds pinching them before I am. But if we look, we've got a good crop of runners coming off. These will all make new plants for next year that I will pot up in the baskets. There's plenty of them. You can do it any time from now on. If you take a closer look, you may be able to see a little bit of root starting to form there. They root up very easily. So that's the seedlings. There's 4 or 5 that are shaping up quite well. 3 that I'm quite hopeful for. After that, the others have either starred or just gone long. They're just not quite the right shape. Right, I'm moving to the stock plants. Onion stock is doing very nicely. The heads are coming along great. All beautiful and clean. As you can see, they're still looking very nice here. There's still some tremendous bulbs on the bottom. And they're coming up, they're just starting to produce heads. I'm going to shave maybe 2, sort of this type of style. They'll get shaved, and I'm looking for little pips off there. But I'll wait until mid-July to shave those. Some are just starting to split open. Some of the bigger ones are right up a height. Some of these heads are 6 foot high. But as you can see, we have got pollen forming, and the bees are on here daily now. They're buzzing around me as I'm talking. So there'll be plenty of good onion seed there, and the bees do a great job. Get fantastic germination. There we are, look, there's a little bee on there working as we talk. There's a few flying around. Right, moving on to leek heads. These are blanched leek. This is the blanched leek side, and the heads are all open. They've opened early this year. There's a few still just starting to open. I've got 1 or 2 hasn't opened at the present minute, as we can see. But predominantly they've just split the sheaths, and they're all showing signs, of seed on the top of there. 1 or 2 with a little bit of grass on. You sometimes get a secondary growth which comes up. We have one here that's just appeared in the last day or 2. They will give me late heads, so there's nothing wrong with that. It's the suckers that come up off the bottom. It's like the king pod, which sometimes you get in the first year, sometimes it's the second year, but they're looking fairly decent. Moving along to I've got some Amelia, and Amelia heads, they vary from being tight like we see here to just starting to open like we see here. Cumbrian heads looking very good, very fit, lovely and clean, really big heads on them. There's 3 different types of Cumbrian in here. I have Jimmy Dunnets, which I believe is a really good one. We have Alan Stokoe's, and I have some from Mick Milner, which possibly came from my own garden initially. Mick bought stock in from 1 or 2 growers, but he has shown some good leeks, so some plenty of heads there. They're looking very good. There's some more over here. And then moving on this side, we have CSC, looking very good. None of them are open yet. They're all just producing really good heads. Lovely clean plants, lovely clean stems all the way through, as you can see. Looking very nice. Plenty of those heads all the way along. They're all tied in and they all look very good. From CSC we have some GSNs. GSNs looking very good. We have 1 or 2 opening up which are really big, coming out well. There's the Betty. I've got the Betty further along here. These are Betty heads. There's a few heads of those. I have the Dorothy leek, which again I haven't seen on the bench, so whether or not I'll actually set any of those I don't know. And we have the giant heads, plenty of Yorkshire giant, I have some Yorkshire Blue along here. These are Yorkshire Blue. Plenty of those. So stock's looking very good. Now what I've decided to do with the stock plants, because I've got a lot and because I've got the virus free up the top, some virus free stock, I've decided to let plants go out early. It'll be collection only, but if anyone's willing to collect before November, so anytime throughout October and November, I'm going to do the plants at £10 a dozen, so that'll be cheap, and they can take whatever they want away, and that'll give me space for the virus free and space to move the others on. So just to let you all know, there will be some cheap plants going early if anyone wants them. Obviously they'll be in small cells or pots to be potted on themselves. We'll move around and take a look at tomatoes. The beehive, the bees are still working very well there, they're in and out. This one's performing very well. I've got a second hive up the top. You can actually see them going in now, carrying pollen there. Tomatoes, these ones are doing very well. This is Maisie. It's the only ones that I got out of 40 seeds. I was very disappointed, and to be honest, the others aren't. The others that I've got, Red Dragon. Red Dragon's turned out it's not Red Dragon. It's actually it's a cherry tomato that I've got, not Red Dragon. So they've been packaged wrongly. And Riesling, I only got 1 out of 20 seeds. So I'm very disappointed with those. But never mind. Trusses coming along very well on these. If you remember, these were used leek trench soil, just where I dug the holes to plant my leeks. Now I've gone around this morning, I haven't got time to feed individual plants, so what I've done this morning, if we take a look, you can see this is Terra Plus. It's the higher potash one. That's the bag there. I've just gone around this morning and given them all a handful to every pot, and that'll give them a little boost. That was added in their initial mixture when I actually potted them all up. So the tomatoes are growing away very well. Just keep them watered on a daily basis. Blanche leeks, these are all seedlings that I grew from the Pendle, pollinated by the bees. It was crossed with JSN, which is a pot leek. 95% have turned out to be Blanche leek seedlings, you know, to come good. Some of them have got 22-inch collars on, front one here. Some of them still just got 12-inch collars on. So I'm just letting them go wherever they want to, which is basically see whether we end up with intermediates or whether we end up with Blanche. There's some tremendous looking plants in here. Some really big ones, as you can see. It's totally filling the collars up. They'll probably be 7 inches around, and I believe that one is a 14-inch collar on there. But some of these have got 18, some of them got 22-inch. So there's going to be some new leeks in here. I've had a few of the top growers up having a look at them to see what they think, and they're all in agreement. So there are some really good plants. There's a good intermediate. I took the collar off that one yesterday. It only has a 9-inch collar on, but it's got to be 8 inches around at the present moment. So plenty of scope for that particular plant. But these are looking very good, and I'll be selecting from these to produce stock for future years, which will give us new Blanche leeks. Hopefully I'll get them without any suckers, without any bulbing on the bottom, and it'll give us new vigour in the stock plants. So that'll be a year or two. That's about it. If you have any questions, bang them into me, and the next video I do, we will see if we can there's 1 or 2 people on the way down. I can hear the dogs just barking there. So thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed. As I say, any questions, bang them through and we'll do our best to answer. Thanks a lot now. Bye bye.